Welcome, friends, to Lesson 9 in the Psalms, Part 2. When we think end-time prophecy, we usually run to Revelation. But the Psalms, they're filled with the same fire. They cry out for justice. They long for judgment. They plead for God's rule and God's reign. This week, we're in the Psalms. And in Part 2, we step into this ancient prayers with modern relevance. Psalms that pulse with hope and chaos and faith in the King. On Sunday, a very present help in trouble. Psalm 46 is the anchor of this week. Through the earth, though the earth can be moved, we will not fear. This isn't poetry, it's prophecy. Because when the mountains fall and the world shakes, God says, be still and know that I'm God. We see it in Psalms 46. Revelation 6 tells us, it says that the sky will roll back like a scroll. 2 Peter 3 says that the elements will melt with heat, but you rest in the rock that never moves. The world may shake, but your faith doesn't have to, because you place your faith in the unmovable rock that is Jesus Christ. On Monday, we see hope in the midst of turmoil. In Jeremiah 4:23-26, it paints a picture of desolation. Daniel 7 shows beasts rising from stormy seas. But Psalm 46 reminds us, our citizenship is not Babylon, it's Zion. And though the kingdoms rage, God still speaks and the earth melts. Friends, empires may fall, headlines they will shift, but God's throne is intact. So whether you're reading Jeremiah 4, Psalms 46, Daniel 7, let us know in the comments what your takeaway is as you study this lesson. On Tuesday, under his feet in Psalm 47, it says that God is king over what? All the earth. He reigns. He rules. His feet touch the mountains. We compare this to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, that Jesus returned and we rise, and we compare it to Zechariah 14. His feet stand on the Mount of Olives. Two returns, one Savior. From the air to the earth, Christ's sovereignty is total. You are not forgotten. You're caught up with Him and you'll come down with Him. You can know and have the assurance that He is with you now and forevermore. Finally, on Wednesday, we see the title, Wine and Blood. Psalm 75 is intense. Let's just be honest. A shaking earth, a cup of wrath, the horns are broken, justice is served. Does it sound familiar? And it should remind us of Revelation chapter 14, because it shows the same cup poured out on those who follow the beast. But what about Jesus? He drank your cup in Gethsemane. He flipped judgment on its head and offered mercy through His blood. Friends, the takeaway is that you'll never taste the wrath of God because Jesus already did. Not because God isn't love, but because one has to pay a very serious price for sin. And Jesus did that for you and for me. Finally, Thursday, we really see that your salvation may be known. That Psalm 67 is a call to mission. That God blesses us so that we can reflect Him. But too often, we absorb light, and reflect nothing. Revelation 14, the remnant, they don't just stand, they fly, they preach, they bring the gospel to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people. Friends, you weren't saved to sit, you were blessed to broadcast. And that's why we do this during the week, to broadcast His glory and His good news. And as we wrap up, Psalms is a prophetic prayer. These aren't just soft songs, they are warfare hymns. They prepare us for what's next. They remind us who's in charge. From Psalms 46, 75, we all hear the same call. God reigns, He judges, and God saves. The takeaway that I've had is that when the Psalms become your prayer, prophecy becomes personal. So this week, if this week really opened your eyes to the power of the Psalms, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend. That's how you can be a part of this. Be a digital missionary. Next week, we'll go deeper into judgment and worship about these messages that fly across the sky in Revelation. But until then, don't just survive through the end times. Sing through them, because the Lord reigns. He's not done writing your story. He is not done working out in you what He's begun years ago. He's known you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Can you just imagine that? That every image, that every symbol, that every illusion really points to the fact that God is working on your behalf to bring you home, to not just save you, but work through you His message to your family, to where you work, to where you go to school, to where you live, because Jesus is coming soon. But we don't do this out of fear. We do this out of love. We do it out of fear that represents more in a sense of being in awe, of recognizing how powerful and great and good He is, and that the judgment is done on behalf of the saints. So we don't have anything to be concerned about in that sense. And if we do, if anything troubles us, we have an intercessor for us, as we've studied in the past week, that intercedes on our behalf. Not that salvation isn't complete, but that the story of how it happens is still being told, because I'm here, you're there. The story is still unfolding. May we accept the gift of salvation today. May we have the assurance that God is working it out. And may you have a blessed week. We'll see you next week to study the 10th lesson in this Sabbath School Quarterly. Until then, be blessed.